Hello, good morning. Sunday morning, the day before a holiday here in the US, and so I was going to do a 24-hour reading vlog, like a 24-hour reading challenge or whatever. I still want to do it, but I'm just going to not take it quite as seriously. I might extend it into tomorrow. And I'll also be reading other things because I want to read my Spanish book and my French book as well. So, I'm just not feeling like a super intense day right now. I want to rest. So the author that got picked on my Instagram, I put some like speculative fiction authors on there. The choice was Nnedi Okorafor. I have read one book of hers previously. I read Remote Control a few years ago, maybe, and I really liked it, and I have always wanted to continue reading more of her work. I just have never gotten around to it. So I cleaned out the selection at this particular branch of the library that I went to. They had this one in the children's section. I believe it is middle grade. Then in the YA section, they had Akata Woman. I don't know anything about it. And then in the adult section, they had these two, Noor and Who Fears Death. I need to make sure that neither one of these is like part of a series. It doesn't look like they are. I am going to start with the middle grade one because that's like obviously going to be the fastest to finish. And then I think I'll probably do one of the adult ones. So, hello. So we have finished this one and it was very, very good. So again, we're following I think he's 11 at the beginning of the story, and then the rest of it takes place a year later. He is given a gift, basically, by his father, and that gives him, like, the power, basically, to transform into a dark figure with great strength, and so he is trying to figure out who killed his father and who is basically destroying the city that he lives in. And yeah, it was very, very good, very attention keeping. It didn't fall into the type of things that a lot of middle grade or YA books fall into. Yeah, the characters were like flawed and interesting, but not like annoying. So anyway, picking the next book, I discovered that this one is indeed part of a series. It is the third in a series, so that one will be out of the running. Who Fears Death is the first in a series, and Noor seems to be a standalone. Noor is shorter, which I like, but Who Fears Death is in paperback. These are very important criteria that I'm judging off of here. I think I might do Who Fears Death. It does say that it's supposed to rain today, which I really, really don't want it to. Hopefully that will go away. But I think before I start another one of these, I'm going to do some reading in French or Spanish. I try not to miss that when I have the time to do it. So, psych. So, it turns out I left my bag that had my Spanish book and my e-reader, which has my French book, at my partner's house. So, he is maybe dropping it off later, but in the meantime, we are going to start Who Fears Death. I think we will be able to go to the park soon. The rain seems to be blowing over, so... Hello. Okay, so... it was way too loud at the park to film anything. So, I am 100 pages in. This book is very, very good so far. It is much, heavier, I guess, than I was expecting, and it is pretty small font, and so it is taking me quite a while to read, but that's okay because it is great. So, we are following a young girl named Anye. Hopefully that is correct. She is viewed basically as cursed or like a product of evil because she was the product of a violent... So she and her mother are living in this town that is far from their original location because their hometown was destroyed. And so she is growing up in this environment that is very kind of not welcoming to her, and she has also discovered that she has kind of powers. I won't spoil what they are, but she's trying to learn more about that, and a lot of that is being kind of denied to her because of her gender. And so this is kind of a future post-apocalyptic Africa that this is set in. Yeah, so anyway, obviously I'm only about a quarter of the way into it, so there is still a lot to be discovered, but yes, very sad, but also so interesting, a very like complex, meandering tale so far. Hopefully I will be able to get most of the way through this today. We'll see how it goes. Hello. So, this has not been going according to plan. It is like very pollen-y outside, and I have just been plagued by sinus headaches. So I have been reading, and it's still going really well, but just not as much as I would have hoped for. And it's pretty interesting because also headaches are like a big thing in this. Like they're part of what she experiences as part of her like training, like, sorcerer training. So I am like exactly halfway through pretty much. It is strangely, rather randomly reminding me of the book Vita Nostra. It's like way more important and has a lot more meaningful themes than that book, but it's very much kind of the same pattern of like young girl being taught, all of this incomprehensible magic through a really intense, very like unforgiving system. But yeah, anyway, I do want to reread that book soon and read the next one. Really liking this. It is very like brutal, like there's a lot of content warnings applicable. I really haven't heard very much about this series. Normally I hear about the Binti trilogy, which I also really want to read, but the library didn't have that one, so I didn't get it. We're going to work on this headache and hopefully read some more later. Okay, we've run into trouble. I am 235 pages in, which is about 60%, I think. And I'm still enjoying it, except that we have gone into the desert and there's a whole group of people doing a trek, blah, blah, blah. And this has turned into some real YA interpersonal drama stuff. And it's been like chapters and chapters of that. And I wanted it to be done, like, really badly. I wanted it to never even start. I don't care who's sleeping with who. The main character is getting so angry for, like, seemingly no reason. I don't understand her relationship. Man, they're not even teenagers. Like, it would be one thing if they were teenagers, but I think that they are all supposed to be in their 20s. And I know that early 20s, immature, but we're gonna be speed reading a little bit until hopefully we get out of this phase. Okay, I'm gonna be so honest right now. I am on DNF red alert. Like, I am very far through this, and I simply do not want to read another 100 pages. And it's not that I don't like it, I do, but I just want to be out of this place that we're in right now. I read a lot of reviews, and it does sound as though it doesn't wrap up until the very end. So I have never done this before in my life, but I am really tempted to skip to like the end and just read the end. Yeah, it is like so hard to read. And again, I like the story a lot. I want to get back to the story. We have just been talking about petty infighting. Hello. So the wind was picking up at the park, and so this ends up being completely unintelligible. So I'm just kind of expressing some of the thoughts that I had during this section. So I think it's really great and important that she talked about female desire so much. Female genital mutilation is a major subject, major theme of this book, and I think that it is absolutely amazing the way that she covered that in such a nuanced way and really made female desire the center of that conversation. What I did not like at all about how she handled that was that female desire was just 100% synonymous with desiring a man, and I mean that's literally how it was said. Like, often it was said that they wanted a man or whatever, and obviously that's true for many people, but it's not true for all women. That's not synonymous. And it was always only exclusively PIV intercourse, was the only thing even considered, despite the fact that it's very important for all of them right now to not get pregnant because they are wandering through the desert, and they talk about how worried they are about that. But still, the only option. There's absolutely, literally never a consideration of any of them wanting anything other than, that. I just thought that it would have been so easy to not make it that way, not that I want it to be like tokenized, but I mean, it was a conspicuous absence. Like, it was very aggressively noticeable. And I do think that this book was written in 2010, so, I think it was earlier in her writing career, but I mean, obviously 2010 was not that long ago, so I don't know, it was very noticeable to me, and maybe it is just because I've been reading so many queer books lately, but I think I would have noticed it from any author. So anyway, that's the basics of my thoughts. Obviously it's not like a deal breaker for me, but it was disappointing from an author that, although I haven't read very many of her works, I respect her so much, and it just seemed like it almost seemed like a purposeful exclusion, but I don't think that it was, because again, I think in her more recent books, she does have queer characters as far as I know. So anyway. Hello. Sorry for the audio quality, probably. It is very warm. I feel bad about how this ended. I do still want to read more, but I have other books that I have to get to in the meantime. And so these were our successful-ish reads. Just a reminder, this one really liked. I think it would be a great choice for like older middle grade, or if you enjoy middle grade at any age. Thought it was really great. This one, I did like this book. I am glad that I read it. I am also glad that I stopped reading it. I did think that the way that it wrapped up was really interesting, but I feel like she really lost her way in the middle. Obviously, I'm not saying that she has to accommodate my reading preferences, but it just felt very unnecessary, the middle part. And like I said, there were just a lot of really aspects that I didn't like of the way that she discussed sexuality, but overall, so many important themes in this, a very interesting world building, the themes of sexual violence, female genital mutilation, very important topics to talk about, and I think that she talks about them really well. Racism, institutional violence, that sort of thing, also talked about really well. And yeah, I mean, this is definitely an author that I think I will probably want to read everything that she has written. So I will hopefully get to more of her work soon. So yeah, not the expected path for this vlog in either duration or what books I got to. Definitely I expected to get to more. Didn't, but that's okay. Not everything has to be a race. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.